Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we have our very first look at the Tier 7 Italian heavy cruiser, the Amalfi. So, without further ado, let's look at our commander. We are using Luigi Sansonetti. Now, I've built this thing a specific way and I'll go over some of the details, but we have Norman Scott and Jerzy Swirsky as our two inspirations. We have Beyond Range, we have Home Run, we have Subtle Manipulations, and we have Fixated. We also are running the Fully Packed. We have Sansonetti at level 12, Legendary 2. So let me go over a couple of the perks that I think may be switched back and forth. First of all, with this build, the AP struggles, and that is because of this perk here, Subtle Manipulations. Cruiser's main gun AP shell damage goes up, but the time to detonation of cruiser's AP shells go way down. The shell grouping also suffers. So, just so you know, the AP isn't that great if you're using this perk. I thought it would be. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Just being 100% real with you. So I'll probably end up going back to the punch through just because of my playstyle. Also, you don't need Home Run on this. I personally would probably recommend Igniter, but I went for the meme build, okay? And I'll get into that in a minute as well. You definitely want Beyond Range because this thing doesn't have the best range anyway, so you need every bit that you can get. So with that being said, let's look at how we've got this thing set up. We have Aiming Systems Mod 1. We are running Steering Gears Mod 2. We are running Concealment System Mod. And we are running Main Battery Mod 3. Now, Main Battery Mod 3 you may want to take off. Just being 100% real with you. Because the turrets on this thing are extremely slow. So you may want to go for the torpedo tube buff here, but the problem with that is then your torps get knocked out all the time. But I don't think it'll be as bad for this ship as it is with destroyers, just due to the fact that you're going to be at range most of the time in this thing. So maybe torp launchers or gunfire control system for that extra range, but definitely hurts having this, just being 100% with you guys. So if I were to change my build, I'd probably go with the range myself. That's just my personal opinion. Or the torp reload. Okay? We are fully upgraded. And if we get into the stats, I made a permanent camo for the Regia Marina. Just be upfront with you guys. I'll go ahead and take the Epic Booster off, though as you can see, I was running with it. We have the new exhaust smoke generator. We have 4 planes, and we have a repair party. We have 3 of them, thanks to the fully packed skill. And that also gives us 3 charges of our exhaust smoke. Okay, so hit points, 42,800. And she's got decent armor. Not amazing armor, but decent enough. If you angle well when you're getting hit, you can bounce a lot of shells in this ship. Especially lower caliber battleship shells. They don't get, or like anything 15 inches below, I would take risks with as far as being able to angle. So you should be okay. Artillery. You got 9 8-inch guns, aka 203mm guns. And they are able to reach out to 17 kilometers, which is usually all you ever really need. The reload isn't the greatest at 14.1 seconds. The 180-degree turn time is pretty nasty. That's where this ship really, really struggles. And part of that's my fault because of the aforementioned issue. HE shell does 3,100 damage with 15% chance to set on fire. The HE on this ship feels pretty good. It doesn't set as many fires as you'd like, but again, with the build, if you want to go with full HE build, then that's on you. You can get that even better. AP shells do pretty decent damage, but again, with the current build that I went for, it's not really my central aim point. I went with a meme ship build, but 90mm secondaries, 6 on either side. They reach out to 5.3 and they fire HE. Torpedoes. This is where this ship is really, really scary. These torpedoes, it only has 2 torpedo launchers, one on either side. They're quad launchers. They fire 533mm torpedoes, which are not big, but they do 12,667 damage maximum. But that, I think, is probably the hardest hitting 533mm torpedoes in the game. I'm just spouting, I think, like just off the top of my head. So if I'm wrong, put it down in the comments. But the torpedo range, 13.2 kilometers, which is the longest torpedo range in the game, bar none. But they only do 51 knots. So if you're torping somebody at 13.2 kilometers, you're probably gonna miss. It'll take half the match to get there as well. But what this allows for is some very, very sneaky shots from torps. I have torped people at 11, 12 kilometers, and these fire at very good angles as well. So just keep that in mind. These torps are slow, they reach a long ways, and they are darn near indetectable. They are at 1 kilometer before you see them. Good luck dodging, even if they are slow. So keep that in mind. They are sneaky, long range, nasty, pop up out of nowhere, and deliver a punch. Okay, just to put that into perspective, 12,000 damage per torpedo hit maximum on this, whereas the Venom, which we just reintroduced yesterday, the Venom had what? 8,000? 7,000? Something like that? They don't hit very hard? Yeah. So these are nasty little 533mm torpedoes. Reload's a little long at 95 seconds, but they're not bad. Maneuverability, 37 knots with our current build. Okay? You put that booster back on there, and that goes to 40. This is a heavy cruiser that can do 40 knots. That's disgusting. Turning circle is 680 meters, and again, not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. 8.8 second rudder shift with our current build. The detectability we have down to 9.5 kilometers. When we want to disappear, we can disappear. And that is a huge, huge boost for this particular ship. The detectability by air is 6.1. Guaranteed is always 2. And detectability while firing in smoke is only 6.3. So, let's look at the overview. She's hidden. She has good concealment, meaning the ship can get closer to the enemies before being detected. Sure shot. Shells with a good ballistic trajectory maintain velocity, making aiming easier. These are pretty easy to hit the targets. Broad launch. Wider maximum spread of the torpedo launcher is also something that I didn't mention, but this thing is actually pretty good at. I actually torped a Wichita in the match before the one that you're going to see, kind of around the corner. Like, he was not expecting being able to be torped. It was pretty good. The project of a fast and well-protected heavy cruiser with 9 203mm guns designed by the Ansaldo Company shortly before Italy entered World War II. Year of design was 1940, and it doesn't say anything was introduced, so this ship was never built. And on that bombshell, let's take a look at it. It is a good-looking ship, and I do like the Regia Marina camo on there. As you can see, it's got that candy stripe deck, which, if you're not familiar with why the Italians have done that, the Italians had a problem in World War II of their own planes bombing their own ships. So they painted their ships' decks with those red stripes to get their planes' attention, to let them know, hey, this is a friendly ship, don't bomb it. But that's also a double-edged sword, because that also tells the enemy, hey, this is an enemy ship, bomb it. So, let's get to the game. Alrighty, so we are going to be on Greece, and of course it's a domination, because every match always is. But I believe this one's going to showcase just the amazing potential of this ship in the right hands, aka not mine. Now, that being said, I have had some pretty decent games in this. I've also had some really crap games in this. It all depends on just how much you put yourself out there early on. But I think overall I'm averaging somewhere in the 60 to 70,000 damage a game in this thing. It's pretty good. And like I said, it's got enough armor that you can get away with angling against battleships and tanking. Obviously, to an extent. But where this ship really shines is its just ridiculous flanking speed. It is a flanker. Make no qualms about it. It is a flanker. Now, that being said, with all of the good things that I've mentioned about it, I should be ecstatic that I own this thing, right? Wrong. This ship is another one of those ships that really, really is going to shine in the hands of somebody who's really good. I'm not that person. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't have good games in this ship, because clearly I can. I can do pretty decent in this ship. And this game is going to be no different. This is going to be a doozy of a match. But there are certain things that this ship just does not do well. And you're seeing one of them right now, as my turrets literally can't keep up with my hull traverse. So as I'm turning away, my turrets can't keep up. And again, I know all of this is potentially solvable with the right setup. Okay, I get that. Keeping real with you guys. But with our current setup, which is what I just showed you guys, this is some of the things that I've had issues with. The turret traverse is abysmal. The fact that it has a rolling smoke is amazing, but the rolling smoke doesn't last for the entire duration. As you can see, I've went ahead and slowed down. I'm going to roll out of it a little bit, but I'm also going to like slightly return back into it. So the way the rolling smoke works is while you're going full throttle, you can smoke yourself up. But it only does like 3 total pulses. And the third pulse ends up behind you real quick if you're going full throttle. So you can see that's why I slowed down. I took a couple extra shots in the smoke. Now I'm going to start moving forward because I'm out in the open again. And this ship, like the Charles Martel and some of the other really fast ships out there, are just going to be really, really good at kiting. That's what they're really good at kiting. But the HE on this does enough damage that even when you're not getting fires, you're usually doing a pretty decent hit, as we've already set a fire on the Alabama. But the other issue that I have with this is most cruisers are very good at getting rid of destroyers. This cruiser is not. Why do I say that? Well, it's a really big cruiser, first of all, and it does not have sonar or radar. It has planes, and it has smoke. So finding destroyers in this thing is difficult. Now, yeah, you can charge into a smoke screen, but you're likely to be torped into oblivion before you actually get there. Now, this game seemed to have been going okay. Unfortunately, our entire team kind of just black holed over here, as T-Bull would say, black holed on this side of the map. So I'm going to try to push out into the enemy team here and do some damage and hopefully get my team to join me as far as pulling out. We've got this capped. It's time to move on and try to get out here and deal some significant damage. Now, this Cleveland out here is presenting a pretty decent shot for me if I had armor piercing loaded later on in the match. You'll see what I'm talking about. But we've got HE loaded, so that's what we're shooting with. Now, we do take a pretty nasty hit. I believe that was from the Odin, so we got pretty lucky there. But we're going to kite away, and just as we start to get turned around and start rolling the other direction, you can see this thing does maneuver pretty well for a big cruiser. I mean, it's got decent maneuverability, and that's something that you have to take advantage of as well. I would love to see T-Bull take this ship out. I know he's a much better cruiser player than I am, and he's very good at the whole kiting around roll and fire starting roll. So I would love to see him take this ship out. So as soon as he comes out with this Amalfi, I would definitely like to get a look at it. But personally, I'm on the fence with it. I don't hate the ship. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate the ship, and it's got potential. But I think it's going to be one of those ships that highly depends on the build. And you can see, once again, I'm using the smoke screen as initially to separate from the enemy, and then to slow down and use it to conceal me while I fire the guns. And then as soon as I fire this shot, I know I'm about to be spotted again, so it's time to start moving full speed ahead again. And my team does push out, but they're doing it in the dumbest way possible. This battleship, for instance, is broadside to everybody on the enemy team. He is doing literally nothing to protect himself at all from anybody on the enemy team right now. So right here is where I say I may have... I probably should have switched to AP to try to hit that Cleveland. He's going to survive a little longer than I wanted. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to get rid of him. And I was doing damage with the HE, and I kind of want to make sure that I'm setting fires on this Alabama because he's got to be close to burning out. And as you can see, our Nagato goes down. It's what you would call a problem. Because now it's me and I find out later in the match that it's a Wichita behind me versus literally everybody on the enemy team right now. There are 2 ships that are on the other side of the map from us, but we can't do anything about that. Everybody else is right here in a perfect place to make our lives miserable. So right now, I've got to give props to the guy behind me for not getting in my way because I was doing a lot of ridiculous maneuvers. Like real quick turn-ins. Like you can see right there, we had a good shot to showcase the armor and deflection capability against that Odin. Just the armor on this ship is good enough. And with that shot, the Cleveland's burning. He's almost gone. He's actually going to put the fire out just in time, but he does manage to take some shots and get finished off on the last salvo we fired. Now we do get Torpedoes away and Torp the Alabama. He gets finished off by the Wichita. And that leaves me and a Wichita versus this Odin. Now we're up to 60,000 damage. This Odin is full health. I have a Wichita with me. I'm going to do probably something I shouldn't have done, but at the same time, I wanted to hopefully do this with my teammate here because I thought with the 2 of us that we could easily dispatch this Odin. And I'm not wrong. If the 2 of us are ganging up on him, we can easily dispatch this guy. He can't overmatch my bow, so he's going to struggle to do real damage to me until he gets in torp range. And look at these torp launch angles. Like I said, these torps have ridiculous launch angles. Now, I haven't showcased the wide spread in this match, but just trust me that the wide spread is pretty nasty. But as you can see, we're trying to get some damage with the HE. We got 5 shatters that round, shot a little bit low. And then we smoke up here because I thought I would disengage. I was wrong. He can still spot me somehow. And I can only assume that this is because of the firing my guns in a smoke screen. Remember, it was like 6.3 or something like that. But now that he's down to 2, he's guaranteed to spot me anyway, so that doesn't matter. But I know he's coming in to torp me, and at this point, I've made up my decision. I am going to ram him. He has half his hit points left, so getting him out of here is a huge advantage for our team. We do manage to avoid all but 1 torpedo that he launched at us. Notice that I had to turn, almost missed the ram, because I had to dodge that second torpedo. If he'd hit me with the second torpedo, I die. But we managed to survive just long enough to pull off the ram, taking our total damage up to 123,000 damage done, with only 4 fires done. So that really does showcase just how nasty this ship can be. Now, unfortunately, our Wichita's not long for this world. He's broadside on to the rest of the team that's over here. And, yeah, he's going to get finished off. But I want to see some other people take this ship out and see what they do with it. Because, personally, I think it's a good ship. But depending on how you set it up, it's going to be a very different playstyle no matter which way you set this ship up. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.